Silicon Valley stories. I've got a bunch of them. Last year alone, I listened to over 1,000 founders pitch their hearts out in hopes of raising capital to realize the Silicon Valley version of the American dream. Sometimes the pitches were compelling and the products had a profound potential to be transformative. Sometimes, not so much. I'll tell you a story about one pitch that went awry, but to set the stage, Friday mornings, a group of us would meet to hear the pitches of founders who were previously vetted, those who had gone through some degree of due diligence and had, in theory, some potential. This one Friday morning, I think the fellow pitching was number 8 or 9, so we'd listened to a number of companies with divergent concepts and we'd become a bit punch drunk, as does happen. But this guy had potential. First of all, he had strategic funding, $250,000. That's not a lot of capital by Silicon Valley standards, but because the funder was a large company, the probability that he'd gone through some reasonable amount of vetting made us feel that there might be actual potential. Additionally, the base premise of his company was compelling, that he would use a drone to save people who were drowning at sea, directly off the coast of our beaches and lakes. But it's a noble cause. So a lot of us paid particular attention as he began to pitch and indicated up front something astonishing. He was able to detect within seconds that someone was drowning and deploy his drone in order to rescue them. Well, those of us who have an interest in the underlying AI immediately indicated, we stopped him and said, well, that's profound. You're able to do that type of scene detection. The myriad uses of it. Can you just tell us a bit more about what you've developed in terms of the machine learning involved? To which point he confessed, it actually doesn't recognize when someone's drowning. But you just said it did, and isn't that the whole point of your technology? Oh, but he recovered. He said, well, I have a wristband. The wristband I will give to all swimmers, and that band will detect if people are drowning or not. Well, at this point, about half the audience figured, okay, falsifiable premise, I'll stop listening, pull out my phone, start doodling, answering emails, whatever. But the guy was allotted 10 minutes and 5 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes for us to grill him thereafter. Some of us figured we may as well give him his money's worth, right? Well, we started to ask some questions, well, just for the heck of it. Oh, so the wristband is water resistant to what depth? Because in theory, someone could be sucked under with a strong current. Now the guy turns a tad bit pale and says, yeah, water resistant. No, it isn't water resistant. All right, well, that's a problem. You might want to think about that a little bit earlier in the process. But the guy recovered. Now, keep in mind, he had $250,000 on board that he'd raised a few months prior, so he should have had something to show, and he did. He takes out a drone and a life preserver. Now, the drone is not a flying type of drone. It's a cardboard mock-up of a drone. I don't know why he didn't just go buy a drone. Anyway, he takes out this cardboard drone and what turns out to be a very heavy life preserver. And he proceeds to ask his assistant, poor lady that must have been desperate for a job, because I don't think this is the first time this has happened, asks her to go lie on the floor and pretend to drown. She complies, and he proceeds to hold the cardboard drone over her head and drop the life preserver on her head. Heavy life preserver. Hits her head. She's railing in pain now. Cell phones are gone. The pads of paper are down. No one's answering emails. Everyone's looking aghast at this. Yeah. We don't know if he's trying to have some type of comedy show and we're the unwitting victims of it, or if this is serious. Now, the guy was serious and he did realize he was in trouble, but he tried to recover. He said, well, okay, there's some kinks, but I've got this technology perfected for an even better use. Of course, he wasn't going to show us the better thing, except that his better thing failed first, so he has a better thing. Anyway, now he's got a YouTube video he wants to show us. Everyone has a YouTube video. I have YouTube videos, but this guy had one of his technology in practice. All right, now everyone's going to watch this. It's really curious. What's the technology going to do? Same drone. Actually, this is a store-bought one, so it's actually flying. And it can detect a pedophile attacking a young victim, and it can rescue that young victim. We're figuring things are going to go downhill, but we'll give him the benefit of a doubt. He's got the funding from a good source. It can't be nothing, right? Video starts. A really menacing-looking guy wearing a stocking. I guess menacing guys wear stockings over their head. Anyway, this menacing guy, probably an actor that, I hope, yeah. And a very sweet, about 7-year-old girl intersect in the park, and the guy grabs her. Fortunately, he does not cover her mouth because she screams, to which the founder says in a voiceover with great pride, "My drone detects the screams of people being abducted by pedophiles." Then wouldn't the pedophiles have a countermeasure? They cover the mouth of the victim. They'd probably do that anyway. I mean, you'd assume. Okay, falsifiability aside, we continue to watch. A drone does fly overhead, this time with strobe lights attached. I don't know how he attached it, but very primitively. And there is a payload under the drone, but it's small. The drone goes within feet of the pedophile. The pedophile could probably grab the drone, actually, and indicates, "Police have been notified. Police will arrive soon. Release the victim, blah, blah, blah." There's a siren in the background. It's very dramatic. Of course, the pedophile complies with the drone, because wouldn't we all comply with the drone? The young victim runs off to safety. The pedophile, just transfixed on the drone, stares up as the drone drops a hairnet. I'm not kidding you. It drops a hairnet, and it's a small hairnet. It covers him up to about his nose. Now, you would think a pedophile, a rather vicious criminal, would throw down the hairnet and run off because maybe the drone really did contact the police. No, the pedophile stands there in utter terror waiting to be arrested. And the guy proudly pronounces his technology will solve the plight of pedophilia and abduction of children in parks throughout the world. This, my friends, is what sometimes is pitched in Silicon Valley. That's not the amazing part. This is something that had managed to raise money. Not money from friends and family who may have been charitable, but from a large company.